Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Rats on Film, the show where a bunch of movie lovers talk about movies. First bonus episode. Everybody here, we love Star Wars. We like talking about it. And we thought we'll get a little weird with it. Going to be a little bit of a different format for this episode. Going to be a little strange. Don't know. We'll see how it goes. We're going to be talking about our favorite Star Wars background characters. We discussed ahead of time what constitutes as a Star Wars background character. Is a character in any episode. We're just talking about the 9 movies here. Those are the only ones that are eligible. Anyone in the background, maybe they have 1 or 2 lines of dialogue. Nothing plot-centric, nothing more significant than that. They could say a couple things, they could order a drink or something like that. That's it. Anyone on there is fair game for this episode. On the show with me today, I have Star Wars superfans Andy.
What up?
Jonnie.
McClunky.
Tim.
Skippy the Jedi droid. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. My name is Tim.
Good start.
And I'm your host, Xander. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Before we get into Skippy, I just want to say that this is an episode for the true Star Wars fans. The movies, as just like the movies themselves, is just scratching the surface. And one of the best parts about Star Wars is that every single random background character that's in it for a split second, they got a whole backstory. They've got a whole extended lore. They've got a name. They've got a family. And that's what we're
talking about your
today.
favorite Glup Shittos today.
Exactly, the Glup Shittos. Everybody's going to bring their favorite Glup Shitto, and we're going to decide as a group which one is the ultimate Glup Shitto. Zen, are you aware of the term Glup Shitto?
Nope, don't know.
Basically, there was somebody, I think it was on Twitter, or maybe it was Reddit years ago.
It's Twitter.
They were making a joke about Star Wars fans, and the tweet basically said, like, every Star Wars fan loses their shit when Glup Shitto returns in the new Star Wars show. And it was basically making fun of the fact that big Star Wars fans are obsessed with all these random background characters. So then it became a term where it's like, what is your favorite Glup Shitto?
I mean, evidently we are obsessed with it. We're making a whole podcast about it.
Yeah.
It's the best part of Star Wars.
So they were right. They were right.
So should we get into it with Kim's first
suggestion? Who wants to kick off?
Yeah. R5, Red, who apparently was a Jedi who saw Luke's future and realized if he was bought by Owen Lars that Luke would never become a Jedi and they would never get the Death Star plans to the rebels.
So he killed himself for the greater good?
He blew his brains out.
But for people who don't know this, we're talking about R5 is the droid that at the beginning of A New Hope, when Luke is bartering with the Jawas, and he eventually gets R2-D2. Originally, he gets R5. And what Tim's saying is he's secretly a Jedi who blew his own brains out so that Luke would get the information about Leia that was on R2-D2.
Now, I while we're talking about the Jawas selling the droids to Luke and the Lars family, one of my favorite background characters is the tall Jawa.
I'm such a big Jawa guy, dude. They're my favorite Star Wars creature.
Tall Jawa. I'm not even sure I know about this one.
Yeah, I saw him when I was rewatching the other day.
In a couple of the wide shots, there is, in fact, a tall Jawa. His name is Zubwen. And he's also known as the Tower.
I mean, it's a great name.
It's just the Tower of Power.
Too sweet to be sour. Star Wars rules. They just put so much weird stuff in the background. It's just full. No movie has this much weird stuff in the background as Star Wars.
No movie has as dedicated of fans writing material to explain the weird background material.
100%.
Right?
And it makes it so good. It makes it so good.
Does anyone else have any other droid characters? Because I got a couple more. I'm a big fan of the droids.
I do have a droid.
The other good droid is the Gonk droid, which is
I had a Gonk droid.
Oh yeah,
one of the all time. We probably have the same Gonk
Dude, the
droid.
one that's getting tortured in Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
They're burning his little feet, and somehow he feels it.
Yeah.
How does he feel it? He's a droid.
That was messed up.
Why are they torturing a droid in the first place?
It doesn't make any sense. What did he do?
Justice for Gonk.
I think the Gonk droid, though, is one of the most iconic background droids, right? Everybody loves the Gonk droid.
It's that and the mouse droid, right?
And the mouse droid. I was going to say that, too.
Now, we're a rat podcast, so,
yeah, true.
You know, they're kind of our enemies.
When are they going to do a rat droid?
Yeah. You know what? That really feels like something they would have done in the sequels, to be like, oh, it's a rat droid.
One day we'll get a rat droid and everything will be right.
Episode 10.
I'd like to talk about two things real quick. One, I don't know his name, but the guy who's the Rancor, who owns the Rancor and he cries when the Rancor dies. That I love that stuff in Star Wars. I feel like legitimately to like praise Star Wars, that is something that gives the world so much immersion. Is that it's not just like random bad guys. It's like, no, the Rancor was like that guy's pet.
If we're talking Jabba's palace, we got to mention the band.
Yep.
And I feel like you got to mention the band leader, Max Rebo, a.k.a.
Legend.
Maximilian Rebo.
Yeah, Maximilian Rebo
Max
himself.
Rebo is one of the all-time.
Legendary jizz whaler.
Yes. One of the most talented musicians in the galaxy. He's been in many bands.
He's renowned.
While we're talking about the palace, we were talking about mouse droids, and we're saying we're a rat podcast. Now, I don't think he's really a rat, but he's got the most rat energy of anyone in Star Wars.
We all
Salacious
know him.
Crumb.
Salacious B.
Yeah, Salacious B. Crumb.
I'm aware, but everyone just calls him Salacious Crumb.
Salacious B. Crumb.
To his first friends.
Now, which, I mean, we're rats. We are his friend. Now, I don't know if he's a monkey or like a lemur or what he really is.
He's a Kowakian monkey lizard.
So there you go. But his energy is very much that of a rat. When he's eating C-3PO's eye out of his socket, that's rat energy.
Yeah, so I also did a little bit of background research on Salacious B. Crumb, and what I found was that he had an arrangement with Jabba that he had to make Jabba laugh once a day or else he would be killed.
That's why he laughs so much. It's not because he's just trying to get the ball rolling.
He's got a contagious laugh.
Yeah.
A very important role in the palace. You know, he was the vibe setter. He was, a connoisseur of the palace vibe.
He was the vibe setter. What happened in the Max Rebo band? He was turned into Salacious B. Crumbs. It was scattered amongst the desert. I feel like I also want to go back to the Max Rebo band because there's other members there. I feel like people really focus on Max Rebo. Obviously, he is iconic, and they focus on Cy Snoodles, but people are forgetting Droopy McCool, arguably the best member of the band.
You're right. He is definitely droopy.
I'm trying to read this. He plays
go on. What does he play?
the Chindukaloo flute, and his body releases a vanilla-like smell.
So you actually would want to be near him.
Wait a second. I take it back. Droopy McCool was the vibe setter.
Thank you.
The vanilla scented candles.
With the vanilla scent.
With the scent of vanilla. That's classy.
See, everybody is always thinking about Jabba's palace that it smells like shit. And it's drippy and it sucks and it's gross. But really, you go in, there's nice music, and it smells like vanilla.
I'm going to stay on Tatooine here. So, to keep it like a little bit relevant. One of my favorite Star Wars background characters, I think there's going to be a lot for people in this scene. The Mos Eisley Cantina scene. When they first get there. Ton of characters in there. One of my favorites is just the straight up regular astronaut.
Yeah.
He's just wearing like a NASA white spacesuit. And when we looked it up, what was his name? It's literally like Spaceman #2 or something like that. Iconic. And then probably my favorite Star Wars background characters in this scene. I refuse to learn their name. I do know what it is, but I don't want to call them that because I like to call them Bat Kid. There's a little kid. Yeah, there's like its name is Cabe. Kabe. And it's like a little kid that goes up to the counter and orders a drink. And you know it's a kid because it reaches up for the drink with both its hands to pick it up, which no adult does.
So you like that he's
it's in a bar.
drinking.
Yeah, exactly. And also he just looks cool. He's like a little bat.
I mean, he's kind of a rat. You've been begging for a rat character. I'm looking at this guy right now, and I'm getting rat. So
he is he's my number one pick for the background characters.
Sure.
I'm on fandom.com. It says Cabe is a female, and her homeworld is Chad.
Neutral.
Yeah, I did call them Bat Kid.
Her homeworld is Chad, which makes it even better.
That is so much better.
Kate from Chad.
Bat Kid, I love Bat Kid. She's the best.
While we're on the cantina, I feel like I got a shout out. Maybe obvious, but the Hammerhead.
Yeah,
the Ithorian.
The Ithorian, species.
yeah.
Are you talking about Moma Nadon?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have that on my list too. Love it.
I feel like that is like, to me, that is a quintessential Star Wars alien. They're really out there.
Big freaks, like fully puppeteered characters.
I have a related. It's related to the Mos Eisley Cantina. I want to sort of set the scene. This is a pitch for one of the best, I think. So imagine you're watching the special edition of Episode 4 with George Lucas, right? And you've just watched Greedo get shot and killed.
McClunky.
Right?
Yes.
And, whatever. He might say McClunky, whatever. Who shot first? Doesn't matter. Greedo's dead. And then cut to Han Solo's trying to leave and he encounters Jabba, and who do we see in the background but a Rodian that looks identical to Greedo? And you might say to George Lucas, I thought Greedo died, just previously in a scene previous. George Lucas would say to you, no, that's not Greedo, that's Beto. This is a real Star Wars character. His name is Beto. He indistinguishable from Greedo. George Lucas is a fucking genius. Yeah.
Well, we're talking about bounty hunters. I'd like to bring us over to Empire Strikes Back. One of, in my opinion, the best scenes for background characters being introduced is Darth Vader rallying up the bounty hunters to catch Han Solo. Such good characters here. You got IG-88, you got Bobby Fett, you got
Zuckuss.
You got Zuckuss. You got Bosk. It's just sick. But the one that reigns supreme above them all, my favorite Star Wars character of any Star Wars character, Dengar, also known as Dengar the Demolisher.
He didn't even say my favorite Star Wars background character. He just said my favorite Star Wars character.
My number one favorite Star Wars character out of any character.
They said, all right, we got someone in like the coolest looking helmet and armor of all time. We got someone that's like, it's like a lizard man. We got
a cool looking robot.
A cool ass looking assassin droid. What else can we come up with? Well,
a man with a white sheet.
What if we wrapped a man in toilet paper?
He's just happy to be there,
What should we call him? Danger? Nah, swap the vowels around. The greatest Star Wars character of all time. I feel like this is why I love Dengar, because I can't help but think about they had designed all these characters, these complicated characters like Bosk and Zuckuss, like their full body costumes, like stuff you would have had to plan and think about. And I genuinely feel like George Lucas was like, we probably need another person to fill up this space. What do we got laying around? And then they just put together the coolest character ever to have graced the screens in the universe.
I think we've skirted around this for a while. I think we got to talk about some of the background Jedi. My all-time favorite background Jedi, and they're an interesting one because they've been killed about 6 different ways. Shaak Ti.
Oh, yeah. I
love Shaak Ti. I believe she first shows up in episode 2, and then she's murdered in a deleted scene in episode 3.
By Grievous.
Doesn't happen.
Two different deleted scenes.
Yeah, 2 different deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Right, she gets killed by Grievous when they're taking the Chancellor back from Grievous above Coruscant. And then, not really relevant to the movies, but she's also killed in the Force Unleashed video game by Darth Vader's apprentice. Not canon, but just interesting that they were like, kill her again.
Yeah.
There's also a deleted scene of her in episode 3 being killed by Anakin when he betrays and kills the younglings. She's like meditating. He comes up behind her and stabs her.
I think that is the canon ending for her, right?
I think she's still alive to this day.
I honestly don't know. But she's a Togruta, I believe is how you say the race. And I think they're super sick. Another Jedi, I think that needs to be shouted out, specifically for a friend of ours who it's her favorite, is Jarl Poof.
Oh, yeah. Great Jedi.
Appears in episode 1. Yep, appears in episode 1 in the Jedi Council room.
Moves his head back and forth.
Never appears again. Apparently, Tim told me this yesterday, dies off screen.
Yeah.
He was decapitated, I'm sure of it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I just think you couldn't fight Jarl Poof and not decapitate him.
He's just asking for it, really.
It'd be hard not to.
Yeah, you'd accidentally do it for sure.
I'd also like to mention Yaddle.
I wanted to bring up Yaddle too.
Yeah.
I'm sick of the Yaddle erasure.
The same species as Yoda, which I think is yet unnamed.
Not named. Yeah, not named.
The thing I want to bring up about her is that she speaks syntactically the same as anyone else, like normal English, Unlike Yoda.
Do we have any other Jedi we want to shout out? Background Jedi?
I have a Jedi. Go ahead. I don't know how it hasn't been mentioned yet because he's easily the best and coolest background Jedi, and that's my boy Kit Fisto.
Hell yeah.
Everybody loves Kit Fisto. Even if you're not a big Star Wars fan and you show somebody a picture of him, if you've seen the movies, you're like, oh yeah, that guy rocks.
He's chill.
I will say, Kit Fisto blocks 2 hits of Palpatine's lightsaber. Yeah. So he is the best besides Mace Windu.
As a kid, for some fucking reason, I had an obsession with Kit Fisto going into watching episode 3. I was so happy to see that he outlasted
Same.
all the other Jedi except for Mace Windu in that fight.
So I want to go back to episode 1, which is pod racing.
Hell yeah.
Chock full of amazing background characters. And the one that I like the best is easily Gasgano.
Is he the one with the flat face, or is that...
It's the spider guy with all the arms.
Oh, yeah.
And I would like to point out, not only is Gasgano cool because he has a cool helmet with long flaps that go down his long neck. He's not stupid like the other long neck people just exposing it. He's got multiple spider arms, which is sick. And also, the most important part of it, the person who actually got second in the race. Not a lot of people think about that. Everybody thinks about, oh, this guy died, this Anakin won. Anakin cheated. He's the chosen one and uses the Force. Gasgano is just a regular guy who legitimately got second.
On a related note, I would like to mention a man by the name Rats Terrell. He, you might know him as the one who screams and slams into a rock and explodes in the pod race.
That's a good one.
The nice thing to mention about him is that shortly before that scene where he screams and slams into a rock and explodes, he's seen hugging his wife and greeting his kids, and it's established that he has 3 kids that he's leaving behind when he dies. They didn't need to, include that, but they did.
George Lucas is a savage.
Okay, this is my pitch. This is my proposal for the best Star Wars background character ever made. The Rise of Skywalker, the best Star Wars movie. There's a character who's part of the Resistance. His name is Claude, and he only appears for a couple of seconds. What you might not know about Claude is that Claude is a mechanic, and the funny thing about that is that Claude is a slug and he has no arms. So how could he be a mechanic? So there's sort of a lore following Claude. This developed because there was the first gay kiss in Star Wars, right? And there was this viral tweet that went around that showed Claude reacting to the first gay kiss in Star Wars unfavorably. So as to say that Claude is
homophobic.
So as to say that Claude is homophobic. It never actually happened. But it didn't stop people from making a meme that said live slug reaction. Yeah.
I'll be honest. I had a secret second list that was dishonorable mentions. Include people like Ben Quadraneros, and Claude was up there. But I think I'm feeling bad for Claude that he has had these homophobic allegations. For nothing that he himself did. So I'm gonna take Claude
off the dishonorable
mention list.
Well, this is my pitch for how we finish this. I think everybody should pick a character that isn't one that they brought to the table.
All right, I'm gonna pick Salacious Crumb.
Okay, I'm gonna stay in the rat vein as the head of the Rats on Film, and I'm gonna do Rats Tyrell because that's a great one, Andy.
I'm gonna go with the one with the fucked up face in the Max Rebo band, Snoopy or whatever his name is.
Droopy McCool.
Okay, and then Jonnie, the last one to round out the
nobody
best
picked
background
Dengar
characters.
though.
Nobody will pick Dengar.
No, what are you talking about? Dengar's easily the best Star Wars character ever. I will go with Beto.
Yeah,
Beto.
that's a good.
That is a good pick.
That's a good pick.
All right, so one more time, everyone go through and say yours. I have picked Rats Terrell.
Salacious B. Crumb.
I picked Dengar. Oh, good one. I picked Beto.
I picked Droopy McCool.
And those are the best Star Wars background characters. A lot of great ones, a lot of honorable mentions.
Are we gonna pick one? Big Cheese?
Okay.
Just of the 4 that we have.
Among these ones.
Yeah.
Nominated.
All right, who do we think the big cheese is going to be of these 4?
It's gotta be Beto.
I mean, yeah, Beto.
It's one of the most brain dead characters.
Honestly, yeah, let's make it unanimous.
Yeah, I'll vote for Beto.
I think we can all get behind Beto.
All right, the big cheese,
I vote
according
Dengar,
to the
but-
Rats on Film, objectively in our opinion, of all time Star Wars background characters, is Beto. Hey, thanks for listening to this bonus episode of Rats on Film, everybody. Tell a friend about the show. If you like Star Wars, tell us your favorite background characters. We will talk about more Star Wars movies in the future at some point. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Letterboxd, Rats on Film Pod. And thanks for listening.